I'm Andrew Levinman. I'm from ARM Architecture. Obviously, I'm here to present Viv's Place. This project is in the context of housing shortage for homelessness in Melbourne, and Launch Housing are our client in this regard. This is $30 million project for specifically for at-risk women and children. So there's no male occupants there in this accommodation, except for the workers there. This is the first of its kind. It provides wraparound services and it's based on an international model in the US. So it provides on-site health as well as education services as well, which I'll go through. Up to 60 women and 130 children escaping domestic violence. This is a lot of the budget for this came from philanthropic provision. So there was a lot of goodwill around this and providing more for their occupants. The site is out in Bunurong. It's already a subdivisible there's a lot of buildings there already, terrace houses and similar sized buildings. These are the cohort that we're building for, a diverse group from different backgrounds and different cultures. In terms of the design, we looked at the home. Obviously, this is a home for these people, but the home in terms of a design narrative, in terms of colours and textures, and the interiors of the homes are not austere necessarily, not necessarily architectural, but they are vibrant places of pattern and colour. And we focused for the exteriors on the idea of wrought iron. It has a identity which is to do with growth and life and vibrancy, but it masks its true intent to keep someone secure. So a lot of facade testing on a project like this. This is as it was when we submitted for planning. We got into a lot of printed facades as an idea of applying, in a cost-effective way, pattern and those thematics. Ground level plan. This is where most of the support services are, and I'll go through all these spaces individually. Everyone comes in through a common ramp, so equity in terms of access, and the actual wrought iron screen. Privacy is a big deal for a building like this. People don't necessarily want to feel like they're being looked at. Foyer and multi-purpose space. This is obviously the entry. People from the outside come in and use the health facilities in here as well. But this is the arrival, themed in the manner of a conservatory, some sort of in-between garden space, multi-purpose space, a sort of meet and greet area, but also for functions for the occupants. The residential communal space, this is an extension of their own apartment. This is where the home is probably at its greatest. Themes like the lounge room, the kitchen, a common area for eating, encouraging people to get together, residents to get together, but also spaces for educating and showing how to cook, basic skills. Library area, maybe not necessarily a library, but a hangout space for older teenagers. A kids area, obviously, with access and views out to the garden. The outdoor space, there's a lot of space, landscape space around this, but this is the accessible one for the residents. Again, a similar sort of organic thematic, the idea of pavilions, but working with tract to integrate and interface with that common area. On level 1, there is parking provision for the occupants. I think there's about 40 bays there. Really, for us, it was about making it not obvious that it's there when you're there on site. It clearly defines the podium, but it is not obvious that there are cars there. It's all screened off. But, making a thing out of the entry for occupants. some sort of idea about the wrought iron gate. The apartments themselves, lots of work in terms of creating the best mix for these for launch, but this is where it lands. 12 studio apartments, 25 two-bedders, 15 three-bedders and four-bedders as well, for different size families and growing families as well. Sometimes these families have grandparents included. This is a typical level 2 to 4. Pink shows the 4-bedroom one in the corner there. And probably most notable on these plans are the studios and two-bedders are combined with a sort of hotel-style dual key antechamber, so they can make a 3-bedder. So, say for example, if kids grow up and they want their own space or be out of a room, they can expand, or they have bigger families and less smaller individual families. Levels 5 to 7, is that 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 5 to 7, the 4-bedders drop away and more 3-bedders up there, a slightly different mix. The studio apartments are sort of commercial kind of grade. They're a bit more austere than the lounge rooms, but opportunities for occupants to express their own design and style. They come fully furnished for the occupants. Balconies, obviously some of that facade patterning, creating an effect and screening for those balconies. These are the printed facade panels. There's a combination of aluminium printing and also perforated aluminium for screens and the car park. It is over the entire building, and the building sort of changes during that. It's very different than the photos here. You see a lot more detail when you're there in person, and things like the perforated screens have a sense of three dimension and depth depending on how light is hitting it, sort of presented on the far right there. And then some of those other unique elements like the pavilion, the garden is screened off to the street, again privacy, and the actual wrought iron entry to the ramp there on the right hand side. That's how the facade presents to the street. The whole idea is about more and creating a sense of vibrancy for these people. You can see them visibly affected as they come in. They're very excited by the building and its identity, and we wanted to completely remove it from that austere institution-like style of architecture, which can happen with social housing. In fact, it makes the other buildings, the other residential buildings, look like the institutions.